the cloud, I guess.
You got it. Okay. All right. I don't have the agenda in front of me. Does anybody else?
I do. The first is introduction and explanation of procedures.
Okay, so this is the Land Use Committee meeting, and we are going to go through the agenda, which I am going to try to find right here and open up. So we're going to be going through introductions. So would you like to, Robin, call roll call?
Sure. Lindy Owen.
Here.
Becky McFarland.
Here.
Julie Tacker.
Here, thank you.
Patrick McGivney.
And I'm here.
Robin McPeak. I am here. And Larry, are you with us?
He's still having difficulties.
Okay.
Okay.
He was here.
And Larry is the chairperson, so I don't know if he has any announcements or not, but we'll wait till he gets here if he does. Committee members, do you have any announcements?
I might say something. Just a reminder that we're way past due for a meeting with code enforcement, especially as it pertains to trees. We just had a code enforcement that was actually called in by Blake Fixler, and he saw there was no permit, and it was at Bear Valley Realty there on LOVR next to the park. He called it in to code enforcement, and I did follow up on it, and they never took the call. They took the call, but they can't find it. So they're not going to do a code enforcement, even though it was pretty blatant failure to get their permit. And even though it was our supervisor's assistant that called it in, there was no response, and there's no code. So anyway, I'm frustrated. It feels like there's no point in even bothering. I feel kind of like it was just shushed aside, like I should have typed it in and documented it better. It's like, I think a supervisor would have started a process that would have been something that's already established and should have been done. So that I just wanted to say we're past due for something. And there's Larry, so.
Yay. And
Hi,
his head is moving.
Yes, I'm
Yay.
here.
Larry.
Okay, Larry, it's yours.
Okay, I don't have an agenda in front of me that got lost in the computer. Yeah, so what's first? Did we do a roll call?
We did.
We did. Okay,
And we have not done chairperson's announcements.
okay. My announcement is my computer's acting up, but bear with me. That's all. The only announcement I have. Announcement from any of the committee members?
Well, Lindy Owen was just speaking of her frustration with or experience with code enforcement recently with some trees being cut without permits.
Okay. So
And
that,
just a reminder that maybe when we have time, but we might revisit the idea of having code enforcement come out and have a little meeting to understand more what they want from us and have them understand what we need.
So
yeah,
I have something to say, Larry, regarding that.
go ahead.
So code enforcement now is Nick Forrester is our code enforcer for this area. But the head of code enforcement is Cynthia. Thank you.
ALM.
And I spoke to her about tree removal without permits. And it became very interesting because I asked her, what is the fee actually for a tree removal without a permit? And she says, well, we don't really have a fee necessarily, but it all depends on the tree and the size and stuff like that. And I said, well, there's been ones that have been reported to you that have been, let's say, there's cypress trees that are being taken down without permits. And so what would a cypress tree that's, let's say, 18 inches in diameter that was taken down without a permit, what would that entail as far as fine or enforcement or anything? Well, cypress trees, it's not, we don't have anything really for cypress trees. If it's an estate tree, you know, oak estate tree, then, you know, it could be anywhere from maybe $100 to $700. And I said, well, what about a cypress tree that's taken down without a permit? And, you know, what would happen? And she goes, well, you know, there may be, you have to do a 1-to-1 or maybe a 1-to-7 offset. It all depends on how big the tree is. And we just went back and forth on this. And I said, all right, what about if it was just an 18-inch diameter tree, and let's just say it was a 1-to-7 offset? You would have to replace how many, or 7 trees, and what kind would you replace? And she goes, well, and how big? Well, we're not going to require them to replace a grown tree. And I said, well, I understand that, but how big of a tree? And she goes, well, there's not really any. I said, well, could you put in a gallon cypress tree, like 7-gallon cypress trees? And she goes, yes. And I said, well, and would you then be required to water them and make sure they lived? No. And I said, well, we don't have anything in the code for that. And I said, so basically somebody could put in 5 or 7 1-gallon cypress trees for $5 each or something like that, not water them, and they could die, and that would be okay. And she goes, well, I guess technically that could happen. So there's really no code enforcement that we have in our area for tree removal without permits.
Yeah, we do have in the community plan and the existing plan, both of them have clear discussions about tree removal and what needs to be replaced, and suggestions that we have more street trees, blah, blah, blah. So I think that she's never read anything about Los Osos.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
I got the same story from her. She said, well, I just want you to feel assured that we do our utmost to follow all code enforcement. Like, oh yeah, I just explained to you that you don't.
Lindy, remember, oh gosh, 15 years ago up in Cabrillo, a stand of cypress that were planted by the property owner were removed by the property owner and the tree surgeon, and both were fined. The tree surgeon was fined, I think, $5,000, and the landowner was fined $5,000. The landowner ended up paying all of it just because he ordered the work. But there is a vessel for fining for tree removal. So she's off the mark. I don't think she should have taken your calls until she had done some investigation before trying to answer your questions. I would recommend that, you know, maybe LOCAC talk about this in front of Bruce Gibson.
Yeah. You know, my question is, so you take down, like we've had a couple of very large pine trees taken down over on Mar Vista. Funny thing that they're right by where an illegal build went in, 2-story. But how on a lot that's like a 50 by 100 foot lot, if you have one big tree in the front, are you going to put in 5 or 7 trees to replace that?
I don't think there is a formula, Becky. I think she was.
Yeah, well, Patrick was saying, you know, it could be.
I think Cynthia was wrong.
I think,
well, right. But even if they did, because, you know, Paso has their oak ordinance where you have to replace, is it 1 to 6 or something like that? But I just don't see how that would even do anything, because the lots are so small here. You can't put 6 trees on most of them if it was that number.
But could they be required to plant 6 trees somewhere else?
Yeah,
at least to get
there's
That's
a
some
the
other
new
tree.
ordinance would have to spell out. You
yeah.
know, that Manzanita has an offset like that, where
Mhm.
if you remove one Manzanita, I think it is a 6 or 8 to 1,
Mhm.
and it
oak.
can be offsite.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's good to know.
that's just the Manzanita that I know of. I know of
Yeah.
no other plant that needs to be replaced like that.
Okay.
I think oak has it too, I believe, because
No, I don't think so, Lindy.
in the past I've heard of replacements and
Well, there's,
In Paso it does, but
yeah, there might be
Well-
some mitigation required of a permit for land use, but not a tree removal permit.
Well, I think it was Julie or somebody said this should perhaps be brought to the attention of LOCAC. And we happen to have a LOCAC member here tonight who is co-chair, I believe, of Tree and Landscaping. So does anybody want to address any questions to Andrea, or would she be willing to speak to us? I'll ask Andrea to unmute.
Good evening. My background noise might be a little bit for everybody, so I apologize ahead of time.
You're fine.
Hi.
Hi, we're certainly, we, in terms of tree and landscape, we have canceled our last 2 meetings, but we're planning on an April meeting. So certainly we can, include this on the agenda, but I do like the idea of it going to LOCAC generally.
Okay. Well, maybe we could
So
discuss it.
Andrea, do you have any opinion or any response to what Lindy Owen experienced with code enforcement?
Oh, I think my response would be similar to everybody's response, basically being aghast at the response from code enforcement or the non-response from code enforcement.
Mhm.
I mean, it wasn't a response. So when I worked for the city of Morro Bay, we had some pretty good guidelines on tree replacement and tree valuation. I think the Arbor Association has some tree valuation assessments, which could certainly go into some sort of ordinance for tree replacement or fines for for unpermitted tree removal.
I think Morro Bay is also a tree city.
Tree
Listing.
USA, yep.
So they have
For a long
probably-
time.
They probably have some umbrella protections that they are able to follow.
Is there
Okay.
such thing as a tree CSD?
Actually, I think Lindy, years ago, we did look into that and how to get there.
Mhm.
And you really did need to be a city to be part of that,
Program,
that, that group, but,
yeah, to get the
I,
status.
the other person that I think, if LOCAC's gonna talk about it, and if you're gonna talk about it in front of Bruce Gibson, if, whether Bruce is involved in the conversation or not, but the director of planning is in charge of code enforcement, and that's Trevor Keith. And it's another person that probably should be copied on all communication that you have about code enforcement or about tree protection, just because he's the boss over there. So just a recommendation.
Very good.
So Larry, are you still on here? I don't see you.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so would you be willing to ask Trevor Keith if he could maybe come to the LOCAC meeting? Where we
Well,
could-
I started with Corey, but then now Corey's no longer with us. And I CC'd Claire on it, to get somebody from code enforcement to come to one of our meetings, and fill us in and show us the proper way they would like it to report those things. So I will follow up with Claire. If I don't get anywhere, I will then go higher up,
Yeah, go higher.
and check.
Okay.
Huh?
I would go higher.
Okay, but they both responded to me saying that they would like to do that, but then they dropped the ball or
Yeah.
they've changed position.
That was Daniel Del Rio, wasn't it? It's been a couple of years, but he was gonna come give a presentation and
yeah,
the very
yeah.
last minute he said he couldn't. And
Yeah.
that we never went back to
So
reschedule.
to answer the question, we'll ask them again, and I'll follow the trail, or I'll CC the names Julie have recommended to follow. Yeah, Trevor and and I'll CC them and see if we can get them first to talk here at Land Use, and then also to talk to LOCAC as a whole.
So Claire took Corey Hahn's place, but they're just planners. So the code enforcement for out here now is Nick Forrester.
Okay, so I'll include him on the
Okay.
request. I just wanted our representatives to work for us.
Uh,
And that,
What
and
a,
so that's what I was trying to do.
Well,
So
we-
if that's it
move on.
on the,
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
yeah, if that's it on the tree thing, I'd like to move on with the rest of the stuff, or unless there was any more other comments from members of the board. No. Yeah, and thank you, Lindy, for bringing up the tree issue.
Thank you for being willing to hear it. It's been
Okay.
frustrating.
So, Robin, what's next on the agenda?
Public comment for items not on the agenda.
Okay, any public comments for items not on the agenda?
If you have a weigh in on, please raise your reaction hand. Or turn your video on so we can see you wave your literal hand. Okay, don't see anybody.
Okay, next item on the agenda,
Approved minutes. Of
approved minutes. Anyone like to make a motion to approve last month's minutes?
I'll motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, raise your hand. I think that, Julie, are you in there?
I'm gonna vote no this time.
Okay. And do you have an issue with the minutes or,
Well, you'll recall, I asked that the subject of size and mass of the 12,000 square foot house, since it was discussed, be put in there, and you said it would go in, and Patrick didn't put it in. So, hey, it's
It
not.
was, it was in.
there was a comment in the minutes about
About size, appropriateness
about
size?
size.
You added that?
No, that's been in there the whole time.
Well,
Okay,
I'm
Julie,
still gonna vote no. It doesn't matter.
okay, I'll follow it up, but we need feedback on this.
Well, I
And thank you.
didn't feel like it was sufficient then.
Okay. So that's the agenda's been approved, or the minutes have been approved. Next, Robin.
Agenda items, including public comment, and that first one is the vacation rental.
Okay, and the gentleman's name on that? I
don't
asked
know.
him,
Is it Will? Oh, there's a Matthew. Oh, there's Will.
There he is.
there's
Okay.
Will.
Everyone?
Will, hi, you want to give us a little quick rundown on,
Yeah, on my rental. Yeah, I've been in Los Osos since I was 2. I got fortunate to move back here and purchase a house. But my dad's getting a little bit older and prices keep going up for everything. So I'm kind of looking to get a short-term rental application in my home so that I can help kind of cover the cost and help out my dad a little bit, who lives in town as well.
okay. Any questions from board members? I did a search on the county site and there was no other vacation rentals in the 500-foot radius. In fact, Will showed me how to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Will.
And
Becky?
had a comment. Well, I went on Airbnb and, they won't tell you the exact location. But there's an 1882. It looks like it's 10th Street or by 10th and Napomo. And so I don't know what's going on with that. And if you couldn't find one, then there's possibly an illegal one right in the same area. And so I don't know how we what we do with that. Do we?
That's code enforcement, of course.
Well, it
I
is,
believe it's on,
right. And I just
It has
found
to
it.
have to.
Well, right. So I just found it, but I mean, do we approve something before this one's taken down, or I don't know how we
I,
address that.
Go ahead, Robin.
Yeah, I agree with Becky, and, you know, on our same discussion with tree permits is we've got a problem here with code enforcement. But I don't think that should affect this permit. It met the requirements, and we've got a bigger problem with code enforcement throughout our town with
Right,
county.
right.
And I think adding to the tree removals, we should add code enforcement of the vacation rental law too.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah,
You know, the other issue that, and I don't know how the county's, you know, the county is handing out homestay permits all over the place, and they can be right next door. And this has nothing to do with Will's permit. He's doing it the right way, but there are homestays, and some of them aren't exactly homestays, but the county's passing those out. So you could have a whole block that's all homestays on it with a vacation rental. And so I think we need to bring that up with, I don't know, is that a new ordinance or something? It just doesn't seem right that you could turn that many. I mean, there's a lot of homestays in Los Osos.
but
And the question is, are they legitimate homestays where there's a connection to the interior of the house, you know, not just by definition, there's not supposed to be an exterior entrance only. It needs to be connected to the house, either by, you know, interior stairwell or doors. It's not to have cooking facilities to it.
Yeah.
Or if it doesn't,
but-
and it's misused, I'm sorry. If it doesn't and it's misused somehow, then that's a code enforcement issue.
And
Right,
exactly, that's code enforcement. Yes. No
Yeah.
argument with you on that, Julie.
Great.
So I make a motion, we approve Lindy, sorry.
I wish I could see, you know, the visual of this, but I'm a block away, so I'll go check it out. But I think I would encourage that with the approval, we add that we note that there appears to be Airbnb also on the internet at 1882, because that sort of says that we did our work. We're asking the county to double check that isn't forgotten or not noticed, or
Right.
so I just thought maybe that would be we approve with the condition that the county double check to make sure that there isn't an existing one across the street, or no, 2 houses up.
Yeah, and it might be a block or so. It might be on the next block. It was hard to find on Google Maps, but Will's doing it all the right way. I appreciate that because there's so many illegal ones in town.
yeah,
Well, I'm looking at it and the address was 1882, and it is they just show it not exact, but they show Napomo and 10. So
Right. Like I said, I went on Google Maps, like I cruised down the street and I'm trying to look at the house and I'm like, this doesn't match. You know, I guess I could book a room in it or something and find out. But anyway, okay.
Oh.
Thank you guys.
okay.
okay. So Robin, a motion was made by you.
Sure, I'd make a motion that we approve this, and if it's unanimous, it goes to the consent agenda to LOCAC.
I would like to revise that motion a little bit, see what you think here. I'd like to go to the regular agenda of LOCAC so we can discuss it in front of code enforcement or Blaine or Bruce Gibson, whoever is there. But we need to talk about this where code enforcement knows what we're dealing with.
Mhm.
Very
Yeah.
good. Okay,
So it'd be approval of the project on the regular agenda sent to LOCAC.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
So I want to say that unanimous.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Will, this is going to go on the LOCAC agenda, which is the fourth Thursday, the
27th
27th
of
on a
April.
Zoom meeting. And again, you
April
have our
4th.
full support, because you're doing it the right way. But we want to bring it up to the supervisor that's there and to the county folks that are there so they can hear our issues. Nothing with your vacation rental. Yours is fine, as far as we're concerned. So if you could make that meeting, it's at 7 o'clock, a Zoom meeting, just like this. We'll send you the information via email. Is that good?
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Will, and good luck.
Good night.
Aye.
Okay, Robin, next items on the agenda?
they have to do with the properties on Second Street. I'll ask, I think Matthew Davis is the agent on those.
Okay.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Everybody
Okay,
hear me all
so
right?
the first
Yeah, go
one,
ahead, Matt.
Larry, are you gonna take
Cool.
these all together?
I think Matt's going to want to talk about them all together. I think we'll make motions on each one individually.
Could I ask that each one be referred to by the nickname that it has, the loft?
Yeah, I agree. It makes it easier to keep them all organized.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. That makes it easier for me as well. Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to go through these, and I can start at the top. I got the agenda right here. So the first one is, let's see here, single hotel room. Well, that one's pretty quick. So the DRC ending in 00006 was for APN 019, and that is in regards to the one we were calling the Cabana. And in going through this process already, it has become clear that the parcel, when all these parcels were split, this parcel was not granted a water meter or a sewer meter of any sorts. So that being said, the Cabana is going to be reverted back to a dry use. And so the minor use permit is actually going to be revoked, and we're following up with a building permit per the planning's direction to bring that room back to what it should be and what it is permitted to be, which is a 150 square foot shed. And so ideally after tonight and after we get through the planning hearing officer at the county, that would be the next step for that minor use permit. They're working on revoking it right now and getting rid of it. And yeah, we'll be following up with the building permit to demolish everything in there that has anything to do with a hotel or water and make it a dry use as it should be. So that one is actually off and not going to happen. But that's why we're here. Same with the other two. The whole process is to bring these. The whole idea is to bring these structures into conformance from a land use standpoint. Since it's seeming low, it seems as though for a while now there's been work that wasn't recorded, and so I was employed to acquire minor use permits for these structures, and anything that can be approved, we would pursue, and anything that is not allowed, we would, revert it to what the county would like us to revert it to. So the Cabana will no longer be a hotel room. That one will be a storage shed. And you guys are just as familiar with Los Osos policy as I am. So we know, and I know very clearly now, that no water meter, no go. So there won't be anything on that site after this is all done.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
Matthew, I
Yes.
just wanted to stop for a minute. Does any members have any questions or comments about just this one project that Matthew said is they're withdrawing the permit?
I have a quick question. How long was it in use?
I don't know certain, to be honest. I don't know.
I just feel like it used water. It was illegal all that time. And I have great angst over it because it was pointed out to the county years ago and it continued to operate. And because it wasn't up to code, I'm sure someone could have got hurt in there, you know, and it was bad. Very unfortunate that that construction took place and that it was used in the manner that it was. And I'm thrilled to see that it's off the table.
I'm happy that I have made you happy, and I'm right there with you. I used to live in Los Osos. I'm super far away in Morro Bay now.
Super far, yeah.
Super far. It's might as well be a world away. Not to get off tangent, but there's something about waking up in Los Osos. It's a little different. No, I very much every good thing that has come from me moving here. I moved here when I was 21. I'm 35 now. Has begun in Baywood. It's where I've met my now wife, who's the mother of my 2 children now. It's where I've met Bill Lee. It's where I met Bob Kreiser. It's where I met a whole lot of people who gave me a lot of opportunities to grow as an individual, and personally and professionally. And so I take these jobs as more, these specific minor use permits are definitely more than just that to me personally as well. And I agree with you, Julie. I don't have any arguments with the end, how it's ending as well, because it was very clear that this was
it's an illegal use. And what it goes back to is the conversation we've been having all evening about code enforcement, and the developer, the property owner who's operating illegally is rewarded by charging, by using our resources and not having a permit to do so. And that becomes a proliferation around town. When somebody erects a 6-foot fence where it shouldn't be, everyone else thinks they can too. And
I totally agree.
So that's why, you know, we're in the land use business, and we have clients that do it right. So that's why it irritates the hell out of me to see what Bill Lee did there.
Well,
so I'm glad you're getting it fixed, but I think you're going to lose a lot more even in the other permits too, because he overstepped. So I'm sorry.
Lindy, do you have a question?
Lindy's can.
Matthew, I wanted to, like I say, this has gotten very confusing because I'm looking at my notes that I made a couple of weeks ago, or for the last meeting, and the cabana is actually the 18 by 16 shed, right?
Right. Yes, ma'am.
And it's currently a habitable and conditional unit with 1 bed and 1 bath.
That's the way it exists right now, but it won't for long. Yes.
Illegally, as Julie mentioned. And then attached to the cabana is a 50-foot storage shed. Is that part of any permit, or is that one of the 3? It has
no, it's attached to the cabana, so it's a part of the cabana unit, the 18 by 16 or whatever it was that you said. That it's attached to that building, and so I don't think it has its own permit. No, but we're rectifying that issue by demolishing what's in, you know, the hotel use. There won't be any more water used in that building. There was no clear permit history at all for this lot. There was no water meter. There was very clear what can and cannot be done there. And happy to be following the rules and following up with the building permit to rectify it. Yes, ma'am. Robin?
Well, I'm kind of curious because I just looked up the Back Bay Inn, and the cabana is still listed for rent.
And it won't be. This is happening very quickly, but they've all been.
It shouldn't be now.
Well, then we will have it removed immediately. Absolutely. I know there's lots of things changing, different people taking over. That's part of the process of why I was employed. And it will be removed, and the building permit follows up with an inspection as well. There is absolutely no question that this room will be removed from the hotel and not be rented, that it will be demolished and on the inside have no use other than a dry use storage that it was permitted as back in the day, 100%.
Becky,
Yes.
and then Patrick.
Yeah, my question is, so there's an 18 by 16 shed that's right next to it or connected to it. Is there a permit for that? Because you have to have a permit for anything. Is it bigger than a 10 by 12 shed?
Yeah, 120 square feet. And
Right.
so where is this shed? I'm sorry, I don't.
When you were
see it.
speaking, you made it sound like there's the cabana and then attached to it is what's being used as a storage shed. Did I hear that wrong?
Yeah, I think there was a storage shed slapped onto the side of the cabana structure.
Right. And that's
and-
what is 18 by 16?
No, the whole structure, the whole cabana one. That's the
Oh,
actual hotel room.
including
Yeah.
the storage area on it. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
it
you.
was slapped onto the outside. Oh, my pleasure. And any and all questions, I'm happy to answer. Yeah, on the outside, there was a bit of a storage area attached to it. And that was probably without a permit as well, so that'll be removed.
Patrick, did you have?
That answered my
Yeah.
question, if that one was going to be removed, and you just said it would. So
Yes, sir.
that answered that one.
Lindy?
Yeah, I had one other question.
Yeah.
And that was,
Oh, let me-
you said at the beginning that was,
There we go.
what I figured out was that this parcel that the cabana is on,
Mhm.
Was originally part of APN 038181024
Yep.
and 025.
Yeah,
So
way back
is
when.
that what you're
Mhm.
doing is you are also, but it has because it has no water connection legally because it's not,
I'm
Could
so
you
sorry.
explain that a little?
Your feed broke up, so it was you lost service for a sec, so to speak. I didn't hear the whole question.
Oh, I was just curious. Tell me, at the beginning, you mentioned that the lot was not part of the hotel
Right.
property. It's in a different APN,
Yeah.
or it has its own APN.
Yes, ma'am. It
and
has its own
so-
APN. Technically it's its own separate lot.
Okay, I guess that's okay to have then.
How big is the lot?
Off the top of my head, I cannot remember. It's pretty small though. Let me pull it up for you. It'll take just a minute.
Are they planning on
This
a lot?
lot is 0.7 acres. It only gives to us in acres. And that in square footage is about, say, 0.7 acres is about 30,000 square feet.
Is there going to be a lot line adjustment where it's attached to another APN?
No, there's no lot line adjustments being done. That was done in the past. So when this lot was originally a thing, it was a part of other lots. And then sometime in the past,
It
there was a
broke
lot
off.
split. Yeah. And when I'm not sure who did this. It's been years. I have no idea, to be honest. But it was all those, I believe, were one large parcel, and somebody split them all up before they sold them. And when they split it up, that's the way they left it. They left this one kind of on an island all by itself.
Yeah,
Okay.
assessor's info said it was built in 1962, so that was the Wild West back then.
Yeah, I mean, that one was 62. The garden room was built, or the garden rooms was built early 50s, and then the loft was built early 70s. Yeah, it was a much different time back then. I've done a lot of research through the past uses of these parcels, and yeah, it's funny when it kind of happens a lot during the research is you find the original permit and then there's just a huge blank until like the mid 80s. Sometimes you get some stuff in the 70s, but it's usually nothing until 80s, 90s. Julie's got her hands up.
Go ahead, Julie.
Yeah, I was just gonna recommend that you photo document the destruction or
Oh, 100%.
demolition of
100%.
everything. Yeah, so because if you don't document it, we will.
Oh, I absolutely.
Because I just want this over with. It's gone on
I'm-
way too long. But
I'm right there with you, and
back
yeah,
to
I'm
the-
happy to document it and provide the documentation to you personally.
Well, I don't know that I need that, but I just think you should have it for the record. The other
Yeah.
thing is, the 16 by 18 shed.
Mhm.
Are you demolishing the whole thing?
No, the shed, like the 16 by 18 structure will remain. Everything inside will not.
Okay, so the shed at that size does
Yeah.
not meet the limit. You probably need a permit for that size of a shed.
We'll be getting a building permit for the demolition. Yeah, this won't be done.
No, I'm talking about a permit to have a shed that large.
The shed that's existing, right? Yeah, it had a permit for when it first went up from way back when.
Oh, I thought you said there wasn't a permit history on it.
There's not a permit history that supports water usage.
Oh, no doubt about that. Okay.
Right. No, I'm not here to argue about anything. I very much want these things to function the way that they're allowed to, and that's it.
Okay.
Dave and Bev have their hand up. Someone want to unmute them?
Yeah, I did.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. It's Dave. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good. Yeah, Julie mentioned photo documentation of the disassembly of this shed, this room into a shed. And I'm sort of interested in, since I think probably the same people were involved in all the other unpermitted work, I'm sort of interested in photo documenting the construction details inside of the cabana, because I'm supposing that they're probably similar to what's inside of the other properties that were converted, at least the one over on First Street. But I don't know what's going to happen with those properties. But that just occurs to me that it would be if in fact the as-built idea is going to go forward on the other building over there on First, that I'd like to know what's inside the walls and things like that. And when the shed is being decommissioned, it would be a good time to find out about it. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Dave.
I was going to say, you can see inside the rooms if you go to the Back Bay Inn's website. It doesn't show you what's in the walls, but it shows you what the rooms look like.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions for Matthew on just this one thing? If not, let's move to the next one.
I
On the
closed my
agenda.
agenda. Which one's next? No, I
Larry,
don't have the agenda.
Larry, we're going to be doing these all together, but shouldn't we take a vote on this and to approve what's going on with it?
And that minor use permit is going to be pulled, so it's no longer
Right,
a
and it's
thing,
going to be
just to be clear.
converted back into the shed, and I think I would make a motion that we all agree on that.
Okay, Larry,
Okay.
before we do that, Lisa has her hand raised.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Lisa.
Oh, hi, guys. Thanks. I had trouble raising my hand. I just wanted to know, Matt, you know the new garbage corral that's on First Street that's semi in line with this shed that you're deleting. Is that garbage corral on that parcel or the next one north?
It's on the next one north. It's not on this parcel.
Okay, because I really,
Yeah.
that's a separate, I just want to make a note about that. It's there, we have a clear ordinance for garbage corrals, and that one is not to code. And I could go on about it, but I don't want to waste everybody's time.
On that note, for the other parcels, 1325 and 1315, that's why we've included, I made sure we wanted to have an enclosed, appropriate garden enclosure on the property, clearly within the property. And so I know we're going to vote and get to the other ones, but the other two, I agree with your concern, and so had made it a point to make sure that one, it's required to have garbage, but two, that it's enclosed, it's screened, and in an appropriate location.
Great. And part of the problem, I just want to point out one thing. There is a public walking path right there along it. It's a DG path. It's the most minimal kind of public path that Mr. Lee put in. The building planning commissioners asked him to put it in. And it's only edged with 4x6 board. So when the garbage trucks move everything, and when those big dumpsters, I mean, it's all just ratty-tat now because everything's been very worn out from the garbage pickups and the dumpsters. And that's why I'm saying they're gonna, for those big heavy metal dumpsters, they actually really need a concrete pad and an actual ramp. And my main point here is the residential neighborhoods surrounding the commercial business district. We are your immediate neighbors. And First Street seems to be treated as a back alley for a lot of these businesses. And it's not a back alley. It's a public land. It's highly used recreational and for a lot of other uses. So that's why I bring up the garbage corral.
Oh yeah, I use that portion of First Street quite often with my daughter. It was the old break room from back in the day. It's one of my favorite spots, and that's why I felt fortunate to be involved in these three projects that I've been contracted with to do my part to make sure that these three parcels are done correctly. And so if I'm fortunate enough to be involved in any others, you believe I'd take the very same stance.
Great. Thank you, Matt.
My pleasure.
Lisa, I also want you to know when we have our discussion with code enforcement, that property next to this one where they're removing the shed, there's a bungalow there that's also on the hotel thing that's illegal. And again, this dumpster thing that you're bringing up, which is illegal. But again, we have to bring that up with code enforcement and get them to do something about that. Okay, so moving on to the next project now, Matt.
Yeah, what's number 2 on there? I just closed my agenda, of course. Oh, here we go. Is it 06?
4.
004. So we're doing like bingo over here. All right, the loft. Now we're talking about the loft, Lindy. The loft building. This minor use permit is for the approval of 3 hotel rooms and laundry for the hotel there and for 1325. This one, the loft, like I was saying before, it was built in 72. I believe we pull up the right packet here. It's 1325. Here we go. Yeah, original structure was constructed in 1972, and its very first uses were a retail store and single-family dwelling. And after the single-family dwelling and the retail store, the upstairs, as I have my camera on and I'm reading, I don't think the glasses help that much. It was converted from residence to a restaurant and then back to a residence. And so there's been a couple various uses in this building. And now it would be and is a 3-bedroom hotel unit with some laundry in support of it as well. We've got, let's see, how many parking spaces for 1315. So the 3 rooms, we've got 6 parking spaces proposed, 5 in the rear with an ADA van accessible in the front. And the garbage for this, we coordinated with the project manager for the Waste Connections, who's in charge of these properties here for garbage. And he wanted the garbage for both of these consolidated into one area to make one stop instead of 2. And so you'll see down 1325's parcel, they've all been consolidated. That's where the garbage is going to be, where it was back in the day, way back when I first started working down there. That's where the garbage was. And so it just made sense to put it right back where it used to be and make sure it was screened appropriately. This one has very clear commercial uses over the past, various water consumption uses, various parking all through the years. But I wanted to, one thing that was very important to going through this design process with Kreiser Design, Gary is the man I've been working with there, was that I really didn't want to pursue any type of modification at all, especially to parking. Because again, I go to farmers market, I go to the high street, I love Baywood, and I see the impact, how many vehicles are down there at one time now. And so I wanted to make sure that if there was room on site to create parking, that we used it for parking. And so you'll notice in the front there, that used to be a patio that was used for all kinds of different things. That patio up front is going to be replaced with a parking spot for the ADA parking.
That patio is going to be used for a parking spot?
Yeah, the patio is going to be removed and an ADA parking spot will be put there instead. Yes, sir.
And you will be entering from the driveway that's between the Adobe,
Yep.
And then turning left and going into the parking spot?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that building, Adobe, the restaurant was a crepe restaurant. And I worked there in 1974, actually.
That's awesome.
Jerry Noble had that, and he was the one that started the Los Osos Nursery. And below that was a kite store.
Uh-huh.
And then that was the first Nardoni's, actually, with location came in for that.
Very cool.
But how long has it now been used for commercial use for the motel?
I want to say 2005 or 6 or 7, something like that.
Yeah, so it's been 15 years easily.
Without a permit.
Without a permit.
And I was going to say, on the ad that's up right now for Back Bay Inn, it says that they had 24 rooms. The main building only has 14. So they've been operating 10 illegal. Well, I heard 2 of them are over in a little house, but at least 8 illegal rooms for probably that long. I mean, that just, as Julie was saying, I mean, that's really, that's rotten. And that's wrong. And it has allowed other people to go, hey, if they can do it, we're doing whatever we want to. So the feeling isn't happy about what's been going on there.
I can understand that. And I'm happy to be helping try and fix that as much as possible. There are different people involved now. And so it's a different, it's a whole different game. It's a whole different mindset. It's a whole different situation. And the people involved want to be a valued part of the community. They don't want to be seen as, what you've just explained.
Right. I don't know if giving them a permit now is going to make people feel like it's okay.
Well, and especially since they're still renting the rooms out.
Okay, I've Julie's got her hand up, and then Dave and Bev have their hand up.
So just from my recollection, this was also Rodney's, Patrick?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
I missed that.
I have, so the patio area in the front, is that being used for dining by the restaurant next door? It was for a while there.
Yeah, it was used at some point in time. But it is not any longer, and I haven't seen it be used for quite some time. Last time I was down there, it was all locked up. You couldn't even get in it.
Okay, I haven't looked at it that closely because it's behind the hedge. But
Yeah.
the concern I have is that
Uh-huh.
the neighboring building that is the restaurant
Mhm.
and the overhang
Mhm.
that almost touches that
Mhm.
building
Yep.
is a fire hazard.
The overhang will be removed. All encroachment that is on that little takeout, including the front into the sidewalk, all of it will be removed because I completely agree.
Yeah.
It was done without the appropriate channels, and
Well, it
it is
wouldn't have been allowed,
encroaching.
period.
Yeah, it's encroaching
With-
into space that isn't appropriate.
There's,
And
yeah,
so
there's
we're
reasons for
removing it.
setbacks and their fire
Exactly.
safety. And
100%.
that was brought to also to the attention of the fire department, and they didn't do anything about it. So that bothered me.
Well, I will do the fire department's job for him right now. That thing's going off. That
Well, I
thing's going
appreciate
off.
that.
All the
but-
stuff in the sidewalk out front is going off as well.
Okay,
And
so because that's
Yeah.
gonna be gone,
yes,
and that's outdoor seating for the restaurant is kind of, I mean, now I'm kind of moving into the other property, but
it's okay.
I
Yeah.
think they're related in that
They
the,
were allowed to when Bill owned this, he allowed for Ron to use that area.
right, but even what
Change
the space that
is
Ron is
yes,
using now for outdoor dining.
all removed because it's not supposed
So
to have outdoor
his
dining.
place is going to be takeout only?
Yeah, it's supposed to be takeout only. It evolved into, what it
Sit
is
around
now.
outside, okay. Because
But
the whole, my point is seating equals water use,
Right.
seating equals parking.
right,
And so if that's
I
the
did not
only
want
way
to
to get rid of it.
increase the parking or the water any more than is required or which is allowed. And so in that same token, that's why we are making sure the takeout operates like a takeout. It has no seating provided, that the encroachment's being removed, and that we're providing as much parking as possible, which thankfully also matches the ordinance for what would be, required numbers wise. Because yes, I agree. The property lines and setbacks exist for very good reasons. And so we are very, my job is conformance. It's about, what are we allowed to do? What are we not allowed to do? And, encroachment like that is typically not allowed. And so that's what I voiced to them is that, hey, this is all going away because it's not allowed. And I don't want to ask for it to be allowed. So we're going to get rid of it. And a big reason, another reason to get rid of it is, there was a couple parking spots that were eliminated by his encroachment. And,
Exactly.
we're sitting here trying to figure out how to make this the most efficient, parcel possible. And I'm like, I'm sorry, man, but, I need
But your
we
chairs
need
are
our
in the
park.
parking space.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is all very fresh and happening alive, it was.
Well, and I'll just, because
Yes, ma'am.
I like noise and I like Ron and
Same here. Yeah.
and Ron does great work.
Oh yeah.
It was
No, I've known
very
Ron for a long
attractive.
time.
It was very attractive work,
Yeah.
but it just shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, it hurts the heart at the same time to be, doing that to them. But at the same, I agree. These rules are here for a reason. And I'm, there's no point in doing this unless we do it the right way. And so we're, my goal really is doing this the right way and having the community at heart more than anything, to be honest, because this place is very important to me as well. And it's weird seeing, so much change in so little time and so many more people and whatnot, but change is inevitable and this is part of change. And I'm just, happy that I get to be the one to assist this going on, because I make this joke. I keep getting pulled back to Baywood and I'm happy to be. That's a good spot to be pulled back to.
Yeah.
Okay, Patrick, I see you've got your hand up.
Yeah, let's go back to the Adobe because that's the one we're talking about right now.
Yes, sir.
So you're going to be pulling the patio out and putting in, that's handicap parking?
Yes, sir.
And that would be for theoretically the 3 motel rooms.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and would you be taking the hedge out also, or does that get to stay?
If the hedge can stay, I would like it to stay, but it may have to, be altered to make room for parking. Yes.
So then you wouldn't have anything between the parking and the sidewalk.
Potentially, yes.
Okay. All right, that's all I have for that one right now.
Dave and Bev, you did have your hand up. I see it's down now. Just wanted to check. And then Lisa, I see your hands up. And Lindy, I see your hands up. And Dave and Bev aren't doing anything. So Lisa?
Matt, the front area, again, just one comment. Directly in front of the building is the old black pine, and it has lots of character. It's a sweet, small tree. It's been there a long time. But just north of that, there's a little square bed. It would be so nice to get another tree.
Yeah.
We really don't have enough canopy on 2nd Street. Commercial buildings are supposed to provide those. And they create shade, and there's so many benefits, but that would be a great spot. And if you need help selecting a tree, there's lots of people that will help you. I'll help you too.
Oh yeah. No,
That's all.
Los Osos Baywood, for some reason, I always think cypresses, but yeah, I agree.
Thanks.
More trees and landscaping, the better. I also do landscape design, so I don't mind picking a tree either.
Oh, right on.
Anybody? Lindy?
Yeah, it sounds like you're really progressing to try to correct some wrongs from the past and make this better projects. But I was questioning the water flow, which is really important to most of us.
Me too.
Proposed flow of 195 gallons a day for 3 rooms, 3 hotel rooms, or?
Yeah, 3 rooms. It's hotel is usually about 70 gallons per day per unit. So if there's 3 rooms, it's about 210. The way to look at that is in comparison, I suppose, to this building's previous uses of a restaurant, residence, things like that. But yeah, you're not far off. Yes.
Well, but so if you had 2 people in there,
yep.
And so their daily use, I mean, the lowest that we can get locally is 60 gallons a day. So I multiply that out and I get like double what I get 360 gallons a day, likely, if you have 2 people occupying. You can use the 70 gallon per day standard.
Yeah, the 70 gallon is per unit. And so I think it's probably taken into account somewhere that there's going to be maybe 1, 2, 3. That's probably where they came up with the number, versus like the residence's water demand is 50 gallons per day per person. And that's why I think they have it broken down like that. So that the hotel is 70 a unit. And I'm sure that the people who are, created these equations a little higher up than myself, that's for sure. Take into account all these things. But no, very good point. Water is the hottest topic, the most important topic, and that's why for these, because it's something I think about as well. I'll be 35 this year. I have a growing family. Not to go off on a tangent, but it's an interesting world that my children will inherit, that I will grow old in. It is. It could be very depressing if you think about it too much or think about it too hard. But I like to think that things are temporary and there's an arc and things will get better eventually. And that's why I was kind of thankful that, there in the past, there hadn't been a restaurant put back into these buildings.
Well, I've got a list of all the the permits. There's a whole area. 1991, when the commercial permit was final, they got blocked out. Somebody blackened it, so you can't even see the info. But the other question I had, water related, was the laundry building. Is that going to be an expansion?
No,
the hotel does laundry. whatever.
Yeah,
all
no,
comes
it's
out of
not.
our basin.
No, it hasn't been classified as an expansion. The planning department has classified both these minor use permits as not an increase in use in compared to their previous uses.
So there wasn't, the laundry has been in that part of the building, I guess. 3 sets of washing machines.
Yeah, you're right. There's 3 sets.
So anyway, just again, concerned that that doesn't become a full use using more water. But again, like I say, it's all coming out of our basin anyway. I guess that shouldn't be so.
Yeah, and like that's why I was getting at is I was thankful it's not a restaurant because restaurants use, you know, a ton of water comparatively, and there's other uses that use more. And a hotel water use is calculated as though it's a 100% occupancy 24/7.
Sure.
And luckily that's not reality. We've got a hotel across the street, got a hotel across town. Like these rooms won't be filled all day every day, which I'm thankful for as well.
Well, I hope that the past wrongs get righted.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
No problem. This is the first step forward.
Okay, Patrick, I see your hand up, Becky, and then Julie. Patrick, you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So you are aware of the fact that our basin is in overdraft.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so this has been illegally used for the last, let's say, 15 years, overdrafting, helping overdraft the basin. Would that be reasonable?
No, I disagree with you on the overdrafting anything. If I was sitting here trying to get a new use proposed, then I would 100% agree. But with this building and uses going all the way back to 72 when it was constructed, there's a clear history of this building, which is commercial and a business and allowed to stay open for business and be a thing of water usage. There's already a history of more water uses being used in the past than there is going to be used now. And so at least, this building, yes, it does exist. And yes, the building will use water because it's a business, but I'm thankful that at least it's not a restaurant like it was before in the past, or a larger residence or something like that could use more water than 3 rooms that aren't going to be filled year round. And so from that standpoint, I don't think that its use has done anything large to impact the basin. No. And the uses that are there now, though, I fully understand that these may not have been done the way that we quote unquote should do things. But the water usage itself is less than what it was in the past when it was a restaurant and a residence. And there's only 3 rooms instead of, somebody trying to cram as many rooms as possible in there. And so, we can't stop the building from, being a business and using water, but at least we can encourage a land use that uses as little water as possible that still allows for business to stay successful and make money, because that's like, I own a small business, so it's a necessary evil. I run my own land use business. It's Davis Planning Solutions LLC. And so,
but let's remember, it wasn't always a restaurant, or they weren't all restaurants. There was a kite store also, and there are other commercial uses that could be had.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there was various uses through the years. Absolutely.
It wouldn't be using water. So it doesn't have to be a restaurant. Could be another commercial building of some kind, office space or something like that. But it has, every time it comes into another land use permit, it goes to the community. And we have a chance then to be able to decide if this is an appropriate use for our community and how much water it's going to be used. And then we can, at that point, either agree with it or disagree with it.
Right.
And we didn't get that option with these hotel rooms being rented out for the last 15 plus years on this. So it has added to our water use through just the fact that it was motel rooms instead of a kite store or an office space or attorney's office or whatever like
Or a
that.
restaurant or anything like that. I agree. Yes.
Yeah, but then we would have to then look if it's going to be a restaurant again, we're going
Right.
to look at water use. And then we
Right.
would probably deny a restaurant at this point. This
Right.
isn't 20 or 30 years ago when water issue wasn't even on the front panel here. Nobody really understood, other than the county knew that they were overdrafting our basin, but the community didn't really know much right now. And we're freaking out about the water use in our area. So
I agree. I have strong feelings about the water as well. Absolutely. And if I thought that this was a gross increase or something was wrong happening, you wouldn't be talking to me right now. You'd be talking to someone else.
Good.
Because I wouldn't be involved. I'm not sitting, this is for my future and my child's future just as much as it is for my client's business when we're talking about a lot of things at once right now. And I totally agree with you. If this was somebody proposing a brand new 3-room hotel, I wouldn't take the job, even if it was approvable, because I would disagree with it. The benefit of starting my company 2 years ago is one of the largest benefits is that I get to choose the jobs I'm involved in. And if I'm not fully behind them, then I don't want to be involved. I want to feel good when I go to sleep. I want to, be improving the world for my family, not part of the problem. Absolutely not. I agree with you completely.
I'm looking at this as approving a brand new three hotel room structure.
Okay, Patrick, we got to keep this moving a little bit. Becky, you had your hand up, and then Julie.
Yeah, and I was just saying, I agree with what Patrick's saying, and I'm curious. It says it has laundry room. It has 3. Is it doing laundry for just these 3 rooms? And if it's just 3 rooms, why do they need 3 laundry unit? Is it doing laundry for those extra 10 rooms they were renting out? I think I lost my train of thought. We're looking at this all as a package. We can talk about this one building and its use, but the one next door that has 3 rooms in it, where there was an antique store and different things like that and offices, heck yeah, it's using more water. And you may not know that the water board is saying that we will not be sustainable for the existing population until 2050. So it's hugely serious to our town.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree.
And then Julie, you've got your hand up.
Yeah. So I'm curious, Matthew, what are the fixtures rated in the current configuration? What kind of flows do you have on the toilets, shower heads, aerators?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
So I'm inclined, as we go through this process, to recommend that we ask that the applicant upgrade the fixtures to the state of the art, and that they have 1 gallon or less flows to the toilets. 1.5 gallon.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Julie. I didn't mean to interrupt. I apologize. That is the exact part of the process for any building permit. And so this minor use permit, obviously they're not construction permits. In the future, any and all construction permits that were ever applied for this parcel or any other parcel, that's part of the building department's review process. Is they look at it's required. You have to put the table on the plans, and it says existing fixtures have to meet X. And so thankfully, like whenever something is going through a building permit, the efficiency of the water fixtures is also in question as well. And that's not for, I don't want to get off tangent, but it's not for like every single building permit. There's a line in the sand. I believe it's based off valuation. And once it's valued to a certain extent, the building department has the ability to make sure that the water fixtures are brought up to be the most compliant possible.
So here's my thinking though, Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
In 2016, the sewer went through, and any toilet that was 1.6 or lower was exempt.
Yep, I did hundreds of permits during that time.
If those toilets in that building are 1.6, I want them changed. Okay. And I want this body, this approval process to condition the project. That is my recommendation. If I were to make the motion for any kind of approval, it would come with upgrading those fixtures. So
Completely agree.
whether the construction permit requires it or not, and whatever X is for the construction permit, my X may be better or X plus, because I want it to be lower flow than 1/6 for heaven's sakes. You know, and so I feel like, you know, Patrick's probably gonna vote against this because he's looking at it as a new water use. You're looking at it as a continued water use. And I'm saying, if you're gonna continue, then you gotta reduce. And that's the best way I can think of, is get that water down. You know, if it was a new use, you'd have to retrofit something offsite.
Mhm.
And,
If it-
you know,
yep.
maybe that is the next recommendation from my colleagues on the board here. But you've got to get the water use down, and that's even 70 gallons a day. I know Jeff and I don't use 70 gallons when we go to a motel. We just do our business.
No, that's
the heck out
a
of there,
general, yeah, it's an equation
so
created
you can
for
do that,
everything.
but you can do that too. You can reduce your own number. Just because 70 is the benchmark, you can say, but our clients are going to do better, and we're going to do, you know, 50 or 40, because people don't spend a whole lot of time in their motel room. But that's just my philosophy on this. I'm gonna let Larry take it to the public, and then if it's time to make a motion, we can go there.
Thank you.
I just wanted to state, Julie, real quick, I was going to say the same thing that you did. It should be the state-of-the-art water-saving fixtures and toilets in this, and also in their laundry room.
Mhm.
There's washing machines that recycle the water
I agree.
at commercial buildings. I'm aware of them. You know, that if they're going to have the washing machines there, not energy efficient ones, recycle the water that they use to wash with. It's all possible. Cost a few dollars, but it's worth it. I want to keep this stuff moving. Becky, I've got you.
Yeah.
Lindy, I've got you. And Dave, I've got you too.
And mine's real quick. Just, I agree with, Julie brought up the retrofitting. These things, you know, there was new use in some of these buildings. I say retrofit. I'm not really for this project, but if it's going to be passed, they should have to retrofit to make up for all the water that they use that they weren't supposed to over the years. Yeah. And thank you, Julie, for bringing that up about the flow of the fixtures.
Okay, Lindy.
I'll be short too. I totally agree with the concept of retrofitting all the toilets in the entire hotel, because this is a combination, you know, making them all be one set of units. And that will make me feel a lot better about the potential additional use. So I think it's an option. It's going to be a little pricey, but it's the right thing to do. So
Then, to be honest, I don't foresee any objections to that with the new people involved. And again, this is am I on mute? Can you hear me? It says mute.
Yeah.
I hear.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's so hard. I'm sorry. I don't use Zoom a lot. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be many objections. Like I said, these are different. This is a different person, different people. It's not, you know, the person we're thinking of. It's a totally different world. It's kind of, you know, change is coming, and it's a change for the better.
Good.
Sounds good. Dave and Bev. Got to unmute. There we go.
Okay. Hi, it's Bev. Becky brought this up about the laundry room, and I was wondering, do they do the laundry for the whole back bay in that one laundry room? I didn't hear an answer to that. And I raised my hand earlier because Patrick made a motion on the other property, and I don't think it was resolved. Anyway, those are my two points.
The laundry is in support of the 1325 as well, I believe. So the garden rooms, they don't have laundry facilities, obviously. Like we can see that in the plan. And so this laundry facility would be for those rooms as well. Yes.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay. Lisa? You got on mute. There you go.
Oh, yes. Hi. Just one comment about this project. I think it would be really beneficial for those that live here if this space had, at least on the second floor or part of the building, was retail. I think we lack in good retail for the people that live here and people who visit. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Patrick, your hand up again. Let's kind of keep this moving.
Yeah, so I see this as not new use necessarily. It's a new legal use. It's been illegal use it's not going to be a continuation of illegal use, but new approved use if it's approved. I would rather see this, as Lisa said, in retail of some kind, kite stores or office space or something like that. So until we can have more water in our basin and we are assured of sustainability, I would like to make a motion at this point that this project be denied or not approved, or we don't support it.
Okay, so someone made a motion on this project. Is there a second to that? To deny this project? I see a second. Okay, let's put it to a vote. All in favor of denying this project? There's 3. All opposed?
I'm opposed.
And 3 opposed. So that's it. It'll go on to LOCAC then with our input to them. Do we want to go back and vote or make a motion on the first project we saw, the shed that's going to be demolished or turned back into a shed?
Well,
I
he's
made a motion
withdrawing the
already that we
permit.
approve it.
Could we try another motion?
Patrick, you said we approved the motion on it?
No, I already made a motion to approve it.
Approve
The demo.
The demo.
the demo.
Right. Approve
Okay,
it.
yeah,
It's going to be,
That's not what that's not the project we have before us.
The Cabana minor use permit is going to be removed. And so if
Withdrawn.
that solves anything, yeah,
So
exactly.
then
Yeah.
Withdrawn.
Either we have to support that one or we have to deny the project that is in front of us,
What?
which is the shed.
No, the shed is being withdrawn, so.
It
we're not
hasn't
gonna
been
get to vote
withdrawn.
on it, because they have to, by code enforcement and planning, take it apart, and it will no longer be a hotel room.
Okay, and so that's what we're supporting.
yes.
Well, we're in favor of that.
Yes, or in favor of that. So all those, is there a second to that motion?
I kind of thought we did all that, but
Was that Julie? I'm not,
Patrick kind of made that motion earlier, and we all agreed that we're
Oh,
in
and we did.
favor of the demolition. Yeah, we did.
Prior project.
Mhm.
Right. Did you second that, Julie?
I'll second it now if that's what you need.
Okay.
I don't think I did then, but
Okay. So we have a motion, a second, and
and
I
now
think
Larry's frozen.
Larry's frozen.
Oh,
Oh, God. All right. Well, that passes. So that's been approved. So let's go to the next one.
So while, if we can pause for a moment on 1315. So by motioning to, you guys all denied it. What does that
No.
mean?
No, we didn't deny it. There was no approval of the motion, and it was a split vote, 3-3. So it's going to
Okay.
be moving on to LOCAC on the regular agenda.
Okay, so
And
But
you
is
what
will,
does
this-
that look like? I haven't done that before. That's why I'm asking. This is new territory.
LOCAC will look at it. You should be there to present it again. And then LOCAC will make it a vote on whether to support it or not support it. So the land use committee did not come to a motion that was approved or denied. So we're just moving it on to LOCAC. You'll present it there, and then they will decide whether they will approve it or not.
Okay, I thought this was LOCAC. Is that term get used for something else, or is this just the
We're
advisory
a
board?
subcommittee, Matt. We're
Gotcha.
a
Okay.
subcommittee of LOCAC, we're the land use committee.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So I can ask the questions after we get through the next one.
So I'm confused. Did we just 3-3 the cabana or the loft?
The loft.
Okay, so we moved on. Okay. And we can't have another motion that might pass, but no.
I
I don't know how that
not
works.
to, Lindy, just leave it.
What?
Let's just leave that alone.
Okay.
Larry's still frozen.
I'm
No,
still
there
here.
you
No,
go,
I'm back.
on a new line.
Okay.
Who's over here?
I'm back.
Larry's twin is over there, Lenny.
Okay,
Excuse me.
so moving on to the third.
Yeah, the noise building.
Yeah, 1325 garden rooms. So this one is 4 rooms with parking and garbage and the takeout. We've already kind of talked about all of it. Just to cut to the chase, I suppose. And so happy to answer any and all questions, just like the other ones. And but
So what's the requirement for parking there?
the requirement for parking is for a hotel motel, 2 parking spots plus 1 per unit. So there's 4 units. Then you got to have an extra 2 for staff or whatever. So there's 6. The takeout eatery is 1 per 100 square feet, and it's like about of kitchen space. That's about 300 square feet. So there's 3 spots for the unit or for the takeout unit there. And then the rest are devoted for the hotel. And then, of course, we added another extra one for ADA parking.
So how many are in the lot right now?
In existence right now, I can't remember off the top of my head. I want to say there's like 6 or 7. There's
And
1,
but
2,
they're
3,
assigned
4,
to the
5,
And that's-
6, 7.
Yeah, and that's off street. Sorry.
That's
the
all off street. Yeah, and it's okay. Yeah, no, I got my toddler and everything else. It's late. No, I understand. One more time. I'm sorry. Those,
Oh, I
yeah,
was-
right now they're listed for various rooms. You are
Yeah.
correct. The rooms, obviously the cabana site is not going to need parking any longer. And so that removes that space. The loft and studio parcel has their own parking. And so those will have their own dedicated spots on that parcel. This one here is for the 4 rooms and the takeout eatery. So we wanted, again, I know parking is big issue, and I'm trying to alleviate any more impact on 2nd Street and take these things into account, because I do enjoy our community and I do very much care about it, and it is my future that we're all concerned about, and my child's future, and taking all these things into account. I wanted to add as much parking as possible. So the proposed plan has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 plus 1 ADA, 10.
Wow.
Matthew,
Yes, sir.
can I ask if for a show of good faith, they take
Yeah.
out the cabana parking sign and the bungalow?
100%. Yeah, that's,
Fine.
yep. Otherwise that would be, on the proposed thing. Those are gone. Yep. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And that also with as again with the 2-story place, that the most high water efficient
Yes, sir.
fixtures, toilets and showers and
Yes, sir.
are used in this, and also with the kitchen.
Yeah, and again, I don't think there's going to be any arguments about it at all. We're all here on the same page to, We want everyone to be happy about what's happening, and not, necessarily what we've been discussing over the last couple hours or hour plus.
We're still gonna be resentful, just so you know.
That's your own personal feelings, and I can't control other people. I understand.
Well, it was a long time coming, and to get 10 parking spaces there is pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Because they were, underparked and over roomed.
Yeah,
So
no,
many
I got the community at heart here, because I'm a part of it, and I'm not going anywhere. So I'm gonna be here a long time. Want to be proud about the work that I'm walking around town showing my daughter. And I take that very seriously. I'm not just a talking head. I know we don't really know each other, but.
And any other questions from members of the board?
I had one. So
Becky, go ahead.
I'm hoping I'm getting this straight. So is this a zoning change too for this? Because it was supposed to be like office and whatever, and it's been used as hotel rooms?
No, it's staying commercial retail zone. So no zoning change. And in the past, it was, I think just, different ordinances, different times. In the past, the commercial retail space, may have supported everything else that was going on here now. But
Well, that's my question is if right now, if you wanted to build hotel rooms, would they be called commercial retail?
Yeah, commercial retail, one of the Ps, one of the principally supported uses in the commercial retail land use is hotel motel. And this is classified as a P. It has special requirements due to it being in Los Osos and Baywood Village, but it is classified as principally permitted use within the commercial retail land use category.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I went to a thing on Richard Otto, a talk about him. And somewhere in there, it said this building was originally built as a hotel before they built the other one in front of it.
Yeah, this was originally built in 1951, I believe. Come on, mouse work. Yeah, 1951, and its original use was a hotel.
Okay, that's what I thought. And someone said, no, it's always been businesses in there. And I said, no, when I first moved here, I thought it was
I don't think you moved there in 51. I don't think that's when you moved there. I'm sorry, low hanging fruit. I couldn't help it.
Yeah, I know.
No, yeah, originally was a hotel in 1951, and then from there, that building has been pretty much everything you could think of: commercial, retail, general office, restaurant, hotel, motel, computer repair, plumber's office, all kinds of things, kayak rentals.
Okay. Anyone from the public have any questions or comments they would like to say? Lindy, I see you've got your hand up. And then Lisa.
I was wondering if, since the first idea of retrofitting all the 24 supposed rooms, would that be something that we could add to any approval we might consider?
And again, any building permit that these buildings go through, the building department will require that exact thing.
So this was for retrofitting the entire hotel.
This is
24 rooms.
Lindy, this is a separate, these are separate permits. Yeah. They have nothing to do with the hotel.
We just spoke about that with Julie, talking about the idea that if we're going to approve any continued water use from things that actually they didn't have permits to have hotel rooms there after they converted them, therefore they haven't used water. So, but I'm just asking if we can consider that condition again that Julie proposed, that the entire hotel be, because this is part of the hotel, that along with any approval, we could consider that we offset with, by asking that they also they redo all the toilets to under 1 gallon.
And you're talking the Back Bay Inn, right?
No, this hotel rooms that have been used.
Oh, just these 4.
Yeah, this project.
Oh, okay, yeah, no.
We
that's
dropped it for the last project, but can we condition any project because it affects the entire hotel? If they stop using so much water by spending the money to retrofit their toilets down to 1 gallon, we've done a good thing by letting, you know, progress happen.
So Lindy,
Anyway.
are you talking about having the whole Back Bay Inn motel, the 24, 26 units or whatever they have going here, all
Yes.
retrofitted?
Yes,
that's
as a condition, as a
yeah.
condition to every,
Right. So not just these 4 rooms, but the whole motel area, the whole Back Bay Inn.
and I thought that was what the last
Right.
approval was
Yeah,
about.
and that's why
I'm proposing, can we attach it to this one? Because I think it's very pertinent to the idea that we're gonna see progress. We don't want to completely, you know, shut it down and
right,
have a dead Baywood,
yes,
but we also want them to use
Right.
as little water as possible by asking them to fix all those toilet problems.
So I think what Larry's saying is that we can't do that with this project. We're just talking about this 4 rooms right here, and the county will require everything to be retrofitted to the
Oh, I
high.
know that. I
Right.
understand that.
So we can't really do that. So what we could do is if we denied this, then the hotel could come back with a whole nother plan saying that they will retrofit all of their water use completely if we approve these other rooms. And that's a possibility that they could do. But right now, all we can do is vote on these 4 rooms.
Okay, I thought we could say that we could approve with conditions, but I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Becky, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I just had a quick one. So do we know who changed these into hotel rooms? I mean, who did all the building and construction on these, like the shed and,
I think Bill Lee.
I mean, he didn't do it himself.
He
Oh,
had
Hired
maintenance.
somebody to do the
Yeah.
work. I'm just curious as to who did that.
I have no idea.
I think that
Okay,
goes.
thank you.
Well, if you look, I thought when you look at the referral package and there were some blueprints or floor plans, I think it had Kreiser name on it.
Oh,
Those are
okay.
the people that are drawing them right now for this minor use permit.
Yeah, they didn't
I don't do drawings for commercial properties. I have my company, I have my own, I'm doing, designing a couple of houses in Cayucas and Morro Bay right now. But no, Kreiser Design is the one that was employed to create the plan set for these 3 minor use permits.
Or all 3 of them.
So the
On
actual
the,
work with somebody else.
I'm sorry,
that?
Julie, what was
The
that?
actual construction or conversions were done by Bill's handyman and not contractors.
Okay, thank you.
So to that point, are there some cooking facilities in these garden rooms?
No, I don't believe so. They have like
Oh, you froze.
Uh-oh.
Not me this time.
Not you.
It happens to everyone sooner. or later.
There you are, Matthew. You were frozen.
I thought I lost everybody here for a second. No, there's no cooking facilities in these. There's no cooking facilities in these. There's a wet bar, but it's just like a normal hotel room. There's no stove or electric hot plate or anything like that. There's a single well sink and some counters, but no cooking facilities.
No microwaves, no microwave ovens.
They probably have a microwave oven, yeah.
But those are all acceptable in any
Yeah,
hotel.
normal hotel setup. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
When
nothing-
you have those in, if you happen to know, when those are in hotel rooms, do you need firewalls between the rooms? I mean, because microwaves do catch on fire, you know, and there's a heat source, et cetera.
Aren't those block walls in between already there?
Yeah, it's all block construction. Same with the loft. It's cinder block construction. So those provide a better fire rating than, wood, thankfully.
And do you happen to know on these garden rooms, since they were used as a hotel, decades ago, and sort of maybe questionable work on them as far as, not permitted necessarily. Are there sprinklers? Ceiling sprinklers?
I'm not certain, to be honest.
Or the fire doors, but as you're saying, if this gets approved, this will all be brought up to today's standard.
Well, for commercial projects, I reached out to the fire captain and spoke to him directly myself about commercial properties and what they do. Because when I do residential permits, they do a fire plan review and they condition the project. And he explained that for commercial projects that going through a building permit, that they require a licensed fire engineer be employed and that a full analysis written on the structure, and anything within that analysis is then conditioned to the park permit.
Thanks.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments or members from the public? Or anyone like to make a motion on this project? No motion? Patrick, go ahead.
I'll make the same motion. I think we're losing our commercial business in Baywood, and mostly it's going to motels like the huge one across the street that just got put in again. And I think that we need to have more just for the community, more business opportunities. So that do not use water. So I would make a motion that, again, we do not support this and move it on to LOCAC on their regular agenda.
Okay, is there a second to that?
I'll second.
All in favor? Signal some way. There's 3. All opposed? Lindy, Julie?
Opposed.
3, 4, 3 opposed. Okay, Matthew, all 3 of them are coming up Thursday, 20, whatever it is, 7th. That's the end.
Yeah, I got some. I have some questions now. So the Cabana minor use permit is in the process of being removed. Like we all know, the county moves slow. Like they're working on it. That one's going away. Now, these other 2 that are going to the 27th, can you explain this process a little bit for me?
It'll be the same format as this, except it'll be different board members that listen to the project.
Okay.
And they will give their recommendations, which is a step above land use.
Okay.
They're the full community advisory council. And then they'll give theirs, and then those recommendations will go to county planning and building.
Okay. And
so the operative word here is we're advisory. We just state opinions, our advice to the county.
I'm picking up what you're laying down here, Robin, and I appreciate that because I was about to be up all night. I'm not trying to be contentious or disagree with all of you. I want to be on a board like this before. I try to get on more of a planning commission all the time, but they keep appointing people who don't live here. And so, no, okay, that's what I was wondering, you know, like, where do we go from here? And so we're going to essentially, if this was the county, it's going from the public hearing to the Board of Supervisors. But on the Los Osos level, we're going from like the public hearing officer to the full LOCAC board. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, and they'll pass their recommendations on to county building. You know,
Gotcha.
again, it's the input from the community.
Yeah.
And that's why we have different ideas and different questions for you.
Sure.
You know, we all see the elephant different ways.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I've tried to be very respectful and patient, and hope that was reflected in my demeanor.
I think you have it. It's having had to deal with people like Bill Lee, it's refreshing to have to deal with someone like you that has a little more integrity, a little more honesty, you know, and trying to do things the right way.
I will always say compliment. Thank you.
Can I ask
Yeah.
a question?
Go ahead, Julie.
Matthew, you say you have new owners? Is that what I'm understanding? And are
It's
they
in the-
taking over the hotel as well? Or just these parcels?
Yeah, they're taking over. It's all being sold.
Okay, and what about the Blue Heron restaurant?
I honestly don't know. I'm not trying to be a stick in the mud, but yeah, I don't know about those ones. I only know about these three.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with all the other stuff. I'm curious too. But yeah, I know that the person like this, the same person who's going to own the inn is going to own these, and so you know it's all going to function the same way as in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, as a hotel.
And the auto house over on 2nd Street is not part of the hotel anymore, correct?
I don't know which one that is.
It's on the
Julie,
corner of
I
El
think
Moro.
that's sold.
It
Well, I
did
think
sell,
the
but
auto's still
I
own it.
think the motel might be using it, some of the rooms, and maybe the new owners are letting the motel do that. Maybe they have
The
It
Back
looks like a
Bay Inn
residence
or
now.
the Baywood Inn?
Back Bay Inn.
Back
Okay.
Bay Inn was using it as a
Right.
hotel unit, but I think it's now a residence.
Yeah, well, it is, and what I understand is they're planning on putting it on the market again, but also if you look on the Back Bay Inn, they say that I think 26 rooms that they have or something.
Yeah, that
24.
website's stale for sure.
Yeah.
It needs to be updated.
Do we know anything about the bungalow? What's going on with that? Because that used to be just a shed, and there used to be a surfboard repair shop, and all of a sudden it became a motel room.
I don't know about that one either. I was approached about these three parcels that they asked me to work on, and I was happy to help, but I am not working on any other parcel than now only two. Technically the cabana is not happening anymore. So there's one less projects that's going. But anyway, yeah, those are the only ones I'm aware of. Yeah, try and stay in my lane as much as possible, because I do have, these aren't my only two jobs. I wish only two jobs could pay all the bills, but no, it takes a bit more than that.
So Matthew, do you live in Morro Bay or in Los Osos Baywood?
Morro Bay now, but I used to live in Los Osos. I worked for Bill Lee down at the Back Bay Cafe for a very long time.
Okay.
It's an awesome little spot. Rebuilt that blue pier a few years ago too. My cat is that's where I found my cat. Drinking salt water underneath the pier. But he's a little long in the tooth now.
Well, it's been a pleasure meeting you, and we appreciate what you do.
Yeah, good luck. Thank you for giving a dang.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Like I said, yeah, I'm doing this for my kids too, and so I understand where you guys are coming from. So the 27th, is it at 7 o'clock at night too?
Yes.
You made me lie to my toddler. All right. Well, I thank you for your time as well. I hope you guys have a great evening.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
If that's it, folks, we're gonna sign the meeting off.
Yeah, just one thing. You know,
Robin, go ahead.
we all sort of noticed tonight that we're in agreement that there's a problem with code enforcement or no code enforcement. It seems like all the topics we talked about, like Lindy bringing up the unpermitted tree removal. We've had somebody coming before us in the past talking about clear cutting on, along the bay. We have now talking about VRs, unpermitted VRs in homestays, and that home compliance or whatever it's called that county uses for these complaints. I've had people who have told me they have complained about unlicensed VRs next to them and haven't gotten any response. And then here we're learning, about hotel rooms for, a decade and a half that aren't permitted going on. And gee, it sure would be nice if, instead of all this hand wringing that we have in town, that we can actually get somebody in county's ear on getting some respect and having these codes be enforced. Anyway, that's mine.
So you know what the bummer is?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear me. When they have a violation, they're told, the property owner is told to get a permit. So once they are told to get a permit, they can take their sweet time to apply. If they do, it takes a long time before code enforcement knows whether or not they're actually applying. And there's a project Lindy and I have been following pretty closely that they applied in December and just were assigned a planner like 2 weeks ago. And so it hasn't even begun the referral process because the planner has to look at it. And so there's just so much wrong with how code enforcement works, and that they don't make you undo your work unless it's a health and safety hazard, so.
Well, and what Lindy has found is that her name comes up, the person that she brought an enforcement complaint.
Tell me all about it.
Yeah, Julie's got it too. We're not anonymous.
I got signs in the street saying this is closed because Julie Tacker complained.
Yeah. And on the thing you fill out, it asks you to put your name, phone number, and email or whatever on it. So I guess you send things in anonymously in an envelope, and then you know anything was done.
So one of the things that I've learned, because I've complained about that only, is that you can say, please keep me anonymous, which didn't work in my case.
Right.
But I'm kind of loud anyway. I may have outed myself because I talked about it, but they're actually supposed to remain anonymous until the case is closed. And then the complaint becomes public record. And then they're supposed to redact your address and email, but your name is not.
Yeah.
So, but what I think we're finding, Lindy and I both, is there's retaliation from the property owner or the contractor or whoever is involved in the project. And that's disturbing. I can take it. I got a thick skin. I think Lindy does too. But, Joe Neighbor is intimidated.
Right.
And so if we get to talk to code enforcement, I hope that that's what's conveyed, is that people should not be afraid to file a complaint in fear of some sort of retaliation.
Absolutely.
Right. And, I talked with at one of the last recent BMC meetings where I was talking with Bruce Gibson, and, he's trying to say, that like this illegal guest house on Highland is considered a bedroom. And I said, well, it's not supposed to be rented and it's not supposed to be lived in. It's a guest house. And he goes, well, that's a matter for code enforcement. I said, you have basically, the county has given out permits for things that now neighbors have to watch and then think on their neighbors. Oh, well, that's not, but yes, that is. So I'm wondering, should we as a group, as land use, go to the board or whatever and make some noise, not just at a LOCAC meeting, but where more people are hearing it and say, we need code enforcement out
I
here
think-
and we need protection when we report things.
Yeah, code enforcement needs reform. The way
And
they
they keep
do
saying
it
they don't
is
have
wrong.
enough people and, oh, we had the pandemic and, oh, whatever.
Rain, flooding, yeah.
Yeah.
Larry, you have some public members. Shall we go with Dave and Bev? Okay, we will. Dave and Bev, you can unmute yourselves. Go ahead.
Hi, it's Dave. Yeah, I just wanted to comment that, we were talking tonight about this, these permits, minor use permits to upgrade or to accept these as-built properties. Kreiser has made new plans that have nothing to do with the construction that was done to convert those into motel rooms. So my point on, having photographic evidence of what's inside the walls when they take down the cabana, it's not a building permit, but it ought to be a building permit because there never was a doggone building permit when Billy made the conversion in the first place. So that's my comment. And the other thing is we came in late, we got distracted. But I just wondered what happened to the first item on 10th Street. Did you guys approve it or what happened to that one?
That was the vacation rental, and I had looked on Airbnb, and it appears that there may be an illegal Airbnb right there. And didn't we say it was conditioned on whether or not, I mean, we approved it, but we want to ask the county about this other one that seems to be right near it, right?
Okay, thanks. I didn't know. Thank
Which
you.
I just sent you guys an email with the actual address, and I know that property. And it's over on 9th Street.
Oh, the 1882.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
It's
then
cute.
Yeah. it's
Lisa,
cute.
do you have something to say?
Yes. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, hi, Lisa.
Okay, let's see. Well, going into the past tonight on these old projects, it makes me think about some things I've noticed also on this block. And they used to be owned by the Slow Land LLC of Mr. Lee's. The building behind the Merrymaker, for example, often looks very occupied, and I don't know what its status is. It's a 2-story building, wood frame, and it was also kind of remodeled under the radar in this long chain of projects, right? So I wonder about that. I wonder about what its status is for use, and I say that because it sometimes looks really occupied. That's all I'll say. And behind it, in the parking lot behind the building next to it, which I think is a notary building. I don't know the name of that building, but there's a notary in there. There is now an RV, and I don't know what's going on back there. And I've noticed 2 cats live on that block now. So do you see how these clues add up a little bit? So I don't know, it brings up what's the use of these other buildings? Are they legally zoned for what they're being used for? That's my main question.
Again.
And would land use want to further the, maybe the questions to, I forget the gal's name, the new replacement for Corey, but you know who I'm talking about. Because maybe she could just look them up to find out.
Yeah.
And I just want to echo what Becky said a while ago, but now I've forgotten what you said, Becky. Darn it.
But we agreed with it.
And I still think that when these vacation rental permits come forward, if you see surrounding unpermitted, whether they're homestays or Airbnbs or on whichever platform, I still think they should just be brought up.
Right.
And it would
How
be,
do we, if code enforcement's not doing anything and the county's not checking anything, it almost makes me feel like we shouldn't approve any vacation rental because they're all over the place. We're supposed to be at 50. You go online and at some point I saw like 127 in Los Osos. So no one's watching it. I wanted to say to Dave and Bev, Dave was asking about a building permit and minor use permit. We had that giant guest house over the garage built on Highland with a building permit, which is what you get for building a fence. So they built an entire, it's like a small house on a giant garage with a building over the counter building permit. So it never came to LOCAC. No one here was told about it. Land use wasn't told, LOCAC wasn't told. So doesn't a minor use permit actually involve more than a building permit? Because you have to do all the electrical and all of that stuff on it. I don't know if anybody knows that, but
Well, the minor use permit is just the land use permit. The actual structure goes through the building permit process.
right, but
And
wouldn't you have to have a minor use permit to build on the land?
It depends on where it's at. Certain parts of town, no. Certain parts, yes.
But we've got a really weird situation going on here. I mean, not maybe weird, but we don't have Larry on here anymore.
Oh, yeah, that is
Oh, right, he
weird.
disappeared.
Yes, so I don't know if this is an official LOCAC meeting. Do we, you guys want to adjourn? And the other part I have here is with him gone, I am the host. And I know, Patrick, maybe you can help me here. I know it will mess up this LOCAC account if I don't get us off here, right? The next person might not be able to get on and use this. Do you know anything about this, Patrick?
I don't
Okay,
know.
let me unmute Andrea because
Maybe she knows.
yeah, Andrea, maybe she walked away. Ah, there
No,
she
no,
is.
no, I didn't. Well,
There-
I'm sorry. What was the question?
Well, the question is, and I can call Larry, but Larry has gone. He's off. He's not on.
Right.
And I know in the past when LOCAC people have used this Zoom account, they need to sign out of it in a way so that they're not the one holding on to it anymore, and the next person is able to sign in. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do that, other than just click the button that says end.
Yeah,
But-
Robin, are you considered the co-host?
I was the co-host just because I helped Larry, but he's gone and that made me host.
I think you're
So-
fine then. I don't think there's any problem with you stopping the meeting whenever you decide to. I don't think there'll be a problem. I'm not
Okay.
familiar with
Now,
that ever
what I'm
happening.
gonna do, Andrea, since you're on LOCAC and I'm not, I'm gonna make you host, and that way, if you don't sign out properly, then they'll yell at you. So,
Well, and Patrick is too, right?
There shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, I've never heard of that happening, but
oh,
I mean,
it used to.
Maybe we
Yeah.
should end the meeting.
Let's
Well,
say,
that's the ending isn't the problem. It's that, okay, I'm changing Andrea to be host. And then Andrea, that means you can okay. So if you go down below now, if you put your mouse pointer down in the lower right corner, you have a button. For me now, it just says leave. For you, does it say end? Okay, so that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna end it.
right, which is what you would have done, but I'm fine doing it.
Yeah, okay.
Are we ready to end then?
yep, let's leave.
Good night,
have a good
everybody.
night.
Good
Bye.
night.
Good
Bye.
night.
Bye.
Good input. Bye.